The US Congress are genuinely terrified of the Nazca Mummies, and this is something that has been exposed by the Daily Mail, as they have written an exclusive article stating that the US Congress prepared to investigate controversial Peru alien mummies amid fears they could be linked to UFOs. We've gone from believing that this could be genuinely like a load of rubbish to all of a sudden people starting to pique interest because it might rub the wrong way. So Peru's famous alien mummies are all set for the US, where Congress has pledged to check the mysterious cases once and for all. Republican Tim Burchett, known for his outspoken criticism of the US government's UFO secrecy, vowed to assemble the most important people in the world to examine the bodies, which some scientists claim harbour 30% unknown DNA. That's actually quite a large amount. It's almost a third. The congressman said that he would initiate a new analysis at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, in his home state, and I hope that ended with a dang gum, because if it doesn't end with a dang gum, I'm going to be so disappointed. The team at the Tennessee have obtained $500,000 from the Department of Justice late last year to better understand the skeletal remains and relic DNA. Though Representative Tim Burchett has not called the bodies alien, yet his plan is to make sure to spark furor akin to the firestorm of accompanied the mummies' debut from the Mexico's Congress last September. Legal experts also told thedailymail.com that despite Representative Burchett's best efforts, U.S. treaty agreements with Peru could delay the transnational shipping of the eerie remains. The Republican lawmaker also made a pledge to the veteran Mexican broadcast journalist and UFO researcher Jamie Maussan in a new interview which aired on Monday, which we're going to check out in just a moment. And he said, "I will gladly help you," Representative Burchett said during his appearance on Maussan's Non-Human, "help you find what that would analyze them. I would also be interested in getting some people analyze those bodies that are independent of the federal government." And Congressman added, echoing Myriad LaPaz comments in which he has accused federal officials of a UFO cover-up. So he wants his own guys on this because he doesn't trust the US federal government or federal officials to actually do this unbiasedly or to not even just cover it up. Last December, in the US Department of Justice's R&D agency, the National Institute of Justice awarded 2 grants to the farm, more formally known as UT's Forensic Anthropology Center, totaling more than $580,000. One of these grants amounting to $229,000 to help forensic researchers better grasp and one day correct for the phenomena of so-called relic DNA, which can linger on the site for forensic interest in thus contaminate, dig site and crime scenes. Now obviously Jamie Maussan did controversially bring these bad boys into the Mexican Congress, and these are his latest findings off the coast of Peru, in a cave off of Peru. Now we're going to take a little look at the interview because it was very, very interesting, and it hasn't actually garnered the attention that I think it deserves, because although Jamie Maussan's got this history of cock and bull stories, you know, the fact that he's got Representative Tim Burchett on the case and intrigued in the situation kind of changes the game a little bit. So let's take a little listen.
First of all, it's a big honor for us to be here with you because you have become the leader of this fight, not just for the American people, for the people of the world.
I agree.
You represent us now in front of the most powerful political arm that the American government has to be able to do something here.
Well, thank you.
Why are you doing
Appreciate that. Why am I doing that?
I love it. A fist bump as well to Boo. What a hero. Is there anything that Tim Burchett can't do?
I just want the truth. I want the truth. We are spending tens of millions of dollars on something in this country, and I get stonewalled everywhere I turn. Every department, the Pentagon, the military-industrial complex, if you will, and every group Again, they tell us these things don't exist. And I've said this many times. It's not about little green men or flying saucers. And you as a journalist, it's about transparency.
Yeah.
It's about letting us know what we're spending all this dadgum money on.
Yes! We got dadgum! Yes! I love it.
And have you obtained anything?
A little. Most of it, though, is behind the scenes things. And I've obtained some things that are classified. And I've been told outside of classified settings, I was with one of our top pilots, former top pilot, and he's one of the best in the world. And he said to me, Tim, that thing was 14 feet from my canopy. And he went like that. And what struck me odd about that, he didn't say 15, he didn't say 20. He was very precise at 14 feet from his canopy. And, the guy's reputation is well, like yourself, it's everything he has. And why would he come forward with that to face humiliation? I've talked to former admirals. I've talked to military personnel. I've talked to civilians. Friends of mine have come forward that have seen things when they were in the military and way back to the 50s. And the interesting thing about some of these sightings is they're identical in the way they describe the craft. And I don't know what they are. If I did, I would write a book.
You are convinced that they exist?
Do what?
Are you convinced that they exist?
Something exists, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And and people question my, I'm a born again Christian, and I'm not sure what that translates. I suspect you're Catholic, but Jesus is our deal, and to think that we are the best that God can do, and in the vastness of God's great universe, are we it? And when I go out every night, my dogs, they never want to go to the bathroom when I'm awake. It's always in the middle of the night, so I let them out, all three of them, Roscoe, Buzz, and Charlie. And last night, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, I always look up at the stars. And the light from those stars left there before the time of Christ. That's the vastness of God's great universe. We are a speck in a million beaches. And so I just don't, I think the God that created a lightning bug, a bug that has electricity in its tail that lights up, if he could do that, what is it?
Yeah.
What is it? Could he not create more? And I think he has.
I'm not a very religious man at all. I've said that countless times on this channel. I, don't follow a particular faith at all. But I respect what he's saying and I understand the sentiment. There's got to be something more out there in this vast, ever-expanding universe that has, even in the time of me trying to spit this sentence out, has quadrupled in size. There must be something more. If we're it, I would be so disappointed, because as a race, the humans, we're just not great, are we? We're not exactly the poster boys for for life, but I respect what he's saying.
And I don't understand what I'll be very careful what I say here. I don't understand the technology behind some things that I've seen. How about if I leave it at that? And
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I have to be very careful. But I have the utmost respect for our military fighting men and women. It has nothing to do with them. It's some guy sitting behind a desk that has that and they're arrogant, and that ticks me off.
Are you convinced they are hiding something?
Yes, sir. I'm 100%
here we
convinced
go.
they're hiding something. I've talked to too many military personnel that tell me what they're hiding, and they've told me where they're hiding some of this stuff.
Oh, this is the thing, man. We need, why is Tim Burchett just not allowed to go just balls to the wall and just be scream it from the rooftops? Do you know what I mean?
what David Grosh said then is real, it's truth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They're hiding something, and I've talked to too many people that have about crafts, and you know, if there's a craft, something had to fly it here. If it's an unmanned drone, I get that. That's our new technology.
But at the same time, there's still something that had to fly that here. You know, like, unless this species is so advanced that they've got like self-flying, self-monitoring tech, but at the same time, something would have made it. You know, and this is where it all goes back to. You've just got to peel the layers back, and before you know it, you might get some answers. There's something, either flew something here, something created something to fly itself here, but something has that ability.
Talking, but it's just, it's too much.
The problem here is that if they accept they have something, they would be accepting that they lie in the last 70 years, 80 years.
Well, since Roswell, or there's been some other incidents that happened. Yes, sir. They're not telling us the truth.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's so compartmentalized, and every person that was involved in, say, Roswell, New Mexico, or any of these other sightings, they're long gone. And so it was compartmentalized then, and anybody who knew the full story is long gone. But again, they're spending and they'll release these reports, but they're heavily redacted. It looks like somebody shot them with a 12-gauge shotgun. You know, that they're just blacked out. If they don't exist, then let me see what's in those reports.
This is exactly the thing. Like, the US government will be like, yeah, but it just doesn't exist. Well, then why are you showing redacted reports? Why would you classify information? Why won't you let us see the full information if there's nothing to hide in that information? It makes zero sense. Like, it's just give with one take with the other, but then it's just like take a hell of a lot more than you give. It's crazy.
Is national security the issue here?
I think that's what we've been sold as a bill of goods. I think it's power, it's greed, it's influence, and those are all the things that drive Washington, D.C. And it's people want to call it a swamp, and it's really just an open sewer.
And that's very true. Again, like, you know, the more power you give, the less you have, right? And, you know, when it comes to politicians, power is everything. The more power you've got, the more control you have, and the more control you have, the more influence you have, and the more influence you have, again, it's like a full circle, then you have more power. If you give out all of this information, you remove that. If you give that power, you lose that power. At the same time, you know, it could all come down to something as crazy as fossil fuel money. You know, that's a $1 trillion business. That's a lot of money that you could lose out on if you let all that information out. You could lose public perception and interest, you know, and you can lose... Well, there's a lot to lose from disclosing aliens and UFOs, and I think that's where the issue lies. Right now, we're rats in a cage, and we do as we're told because that's what we have to do because it's the law. And if that power gets shared out, there's more opportunity for us rats to get out that cage and go and do what we want to do instead. And you know, it's a bit messy.
Because if they have something, if they don't want to share it, it's because they are using it for what?
Well,
war or for?
Yeah, technology. Could you imagine if in the latest the Tic Tac videos that everybody's talking about, that, you know, a friend of mine, I assume, is the one that leaked those.
Chris Mellon.
Well, somebody maybe.
Somebody
but they,
maybe.
You know, they show no heat signature. So imagine something that produces that much energy, that can do all those miraculous things that I've seen them do. Imagine what that would do to our energy sector. The people, the big boys that make all the money. I mean, it would put our Pentagon out of business. For one, we wouldn't need to fight these worthless wars for oil, which is what we fight a lot of our wars for, obviously, is energy. And it would just put them out of business because we could heat our homes in the winter. Poor folks wouldn't have to go without. We wouldn't have to burn coal. We wouldn't have to burn trees. You could cool them in the summer.
Is that one of the reasons you think?
I think it is. I think it's a...
I completely agree. There's so much money to lose out on. It is ridiculous. And, you know, Tim Burchett's on the right lines here, you know? But at the same time, it's such a shame as humans that we can't disclose this stuff because of greed, power, and money. People, right now, right, because of the cost of living crisis across the globe, it's a global pandemic, this is, like, especially in the UK, last winter, people had to choose between heating their homes or putting food on their tables for their kids. Why is that in 2024, you know, in the UK especially, in a first world country, I can only speak from the UK's point of view, why is that an option? Why is that something that has to be chosen? When the governments, the leading world governments, are potentially sat on, you know, things that can end that crisis. But instead, there's more money and it's far more profitable to not do that. Not do the right thing. Arseholes. Proper arseholes. And it really winds me up, man. Because, like, I saw a story that broke my heart where in the UK, an elderly woman, because she's in the UK, when you get to a certain age and, like, you're a pensioner and you retire, you get a free bus pass. It was warmer to go on a bus all day, every single day. She would just go on the bus, just go on long journeys on the bus, because it was warmer to be on the bus than it was to be in her home, and it was cheaper. That breaks my heart. Like, for someone, you know, who's elderly, who's done a lot to, like, you know, just pay her way through the life, and then the end of her life, or in the retirement phase where she should be enjoying, you know, the fruits of her labour, she's having to sit on a bus and endure a long journey, which is probably mundane and boring, because it's better than sitting. I could talk about it forever. It pisses me off.
The control, but also I think there's an arrogance that they think that we can't handle it, and that's not their business. It's my business to decide what I can handle and what I cannot handle. And then
straight.
They throw out the phony religious argument, which I've discussed with you before, earlier. So I think there's a combination of all those things in there.
Well, I talked to people inside the Vatican, and they were ready when science accept this and the government of the United States accept this, the church would accept it.
I think the church would accept it. I don't have a problem with that. I've had those moments where
apparently it's the Vatican that has sat on the most information. Apparently they know everything. Like, literally, that's not even me being sarcastic or making a joke. Apparently they literally know exactly what the crack is. And that's why we've seen in the past few months, you know, like, them change their ethos around, like, how they portray the story of, you know, God's creation and stuff, to include all living things as a creation of God, not just human beings, which I think is a very interesting step. And, you know, if you read between the lines, why is that?
Somebody sort of close to me in Washington on a long hallway, just me and him walking, pulls me off to the side and says, "Hey, Burchett," you know, they're both, he says, "Do you really want this out there? I mean, do you really want to get to the bottom of this? Don't you know what that could do to the religious structure?" You know, they're trying to appeal to me because they know I'm a Christian. I'm not a very good one. I'm not up here. I'm just forgiven. But the truth is that they do not. I think they're running out of straws to grab. And if we get a president in office, that's why I've been encouraged about President Trump. His folks have indicated to me that they want total disclosure. Let it go.
And you think Kamala Harris wouldn't do it?
No, I don't think she would. I don't think she grasps it. I don't think she's. I think she's a product of the system.
Okay, but the genuine question I've got, as someone who obviously, you know, sees politicians come and go all the time, especially in the UK, you know, does that necessarily mean that if he wants full disclosure, does that mean that he'll give full disclosure? I don't know. You know, in rallies and building up to presidential elections, prime minister elections, general elections, all the rest of it, people who want to get in office or want to kind of become the head of the country will say absolutely anything to get the voters on board. And then, 9 times out of 10, you see a lot of the promises just fall to the wayside. I'm not saying that that is the case. Maybe Trump will follow through with it if it does get in, but, you know, can we trust that that will absolutely happen? I don't know.
And that's when, and what happens by the time, you stay in office for so long, you get compromised. They own you. One way or the other, they own you. Your family gets a job. They got pictures of you in a compromising position. You got a family member that's been in trouble, and that went away. And I'm sure Mexico's the same deal.
Absolutely. Are you planning to do new audiences?
Yes, sir. We are in the works right now of doing a new hearing, and that's what you mean by the use of hearing. Yes, sir. Yeah. And that's what we're working on. We're gonna. I've made a lot of people mad. I was told by somebody high up in the administration that I had, their exact words, I've kicked a hornet's nest and made a lot of enemies.
Nice.
And their other exact words were, I needed to get some bodies around me because they were afraid somebody might try to do me in. I don't think that's the case.
The US government are literally petrified. They are literally clutching at straws and clinging on for dear life and just hoping that they can hold on for as long as they can before the fuck it button gets pressed. They are petrified.
But I do think that we've made a lot of people mad, and that's a good thing.
And with a new hearing, what would you plan there?
I think we're going to, I would like to bring in some people from the scientific community and some people that are well known and allow them to tell their story in that setting and be asked questions on a bipartisan. See, I have friends on both sides of the aisle that are in, Jared Moskowitz out of, he's on the opposite side of my aisle on everything. I mean, he's very progressive. He's Jewish, and he's a Democrat. I'm a Republican. I'm a Christian, and I'm conservative. But he's probably one of my best friends. We're very close. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio. I talked to her just before I left Washington, just a couple weeks ago, and she's fired up. She wants on it.
Yeah, this subject seems to join people.
It does. I think just because we have a mutual.
My headphones died. Bear with me. I'm gonna play some awkward elevator music while I do this. Do 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 do.
Mutual distrust of government. I mean, that's what everybody wants to get some intellectual level, but the reality is the swamp or the uniparty, and we've all been almost crushed by it, and so I think that unites us.
Have you been threatened?
Good question.
You mentioned that once.
Yeah, sure. I don't care. I'm a big boy. I've been in this game for a long time. I'm from Tennessee. We don't take that very well. We take care of our own.
Is it dangerous?
Do what?
Is it dangerous to get involved in this?
Yeah, it's dangerous. Sure, it's dangerous. Just politically. People attack me all the time about it. But when they see the polling numbers, it's like at 65% and climbing every day. Because every time there's another news story, somebody, it's past the little green men in flying saucer stage. People know something's going on. When our top military people in the world say it doesn't exist, and then they say the tapes are fake, and then they come back and say the tapes are real, and we don't know what it is. That's where they're at right now. So,
are there going to be more David Grosches there?
More what?
More people like David Grosh?
Yeah, David Grush. Yeah, Grush. Yeah, I think there's going to be more people like him. We would have had a lot more the last time, but they were threatened, and they wouldn't. And we had, gosh, Jamie, I'd say we had 13 or maybe 15 people that were on the list, and they all peeled off. And we had 3 brave patriots that came forward.
Chuck Schumer and Green Browns are planning to do a new.
Yes, sir. And I've been very cautious of that because it's more or less modeled after the Kennedy assassination, the way they would do that. And here it is, 61 years, and we still don't know everything. They won't release everything on that. I just want disclosure, and they want a group of non-elected bureaucrats to go over everything before they release it. It just takes one compromised person in that position. I say, I trust the American public. You're spending dollars on it. Let me know what the heck it is.
What are your plans now? Is it going to also? You see this as a success story? Will you be able to open this?
Yeah, I think it's a success story in the fact that people that have seen something or heard or believe in it are now just not chastised. It's gone past the, kind of whispering thing, and people are openly. I mean, you're a major, a world-known figure sitting here talking to a United States congressman about it, and there's not, and I get the stereotypes and things, but that's the last thing I said in the committee, and I just was speaking to the people out there and said, I want you to know that people are listening to what you're saying. People believe you. You don't have to hide and cower because of the stigma attached to this anymore. I've never seen anything. I've never seen anything that I couldn't define, but a lot of people have. I mean, I haven't seen anything just out.
Will they allow you to see things?
But I mean, I've seen. I'm just saying, as a civilian, I haven't seen, but as a congressman, I have seen things. Sure, I've seen. Well, it's been reported. Yeah, I've seen things that our military does not have the capabilities of doing, and nobody else in this world does.
Right, I'm going to stop it there. If you want to check out the full thing, head over to Jamie Morrison's YouTube channel, as he, posted this very, very recently. But it's clear to see that the US Congress and the US government are terrified about, basically every single day people are on the door, just knocking on that door, and each day we get closer and closer and closer to disclosure, and we just need to keep pushing. Just keep pushing until there is just no way left to push, and then these people are like, whoa, okay, we'll give you it. What do you guys think on this entire situation, though? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to jump to get the hell out of that like button if you have not already. Subscribe if you're new, tick on my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload to the channel. Until next time, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed. Cannot wait to see you in the next one, and I'll speak to you later. Peace.